Computer. Welcome everybody welcome back to another episode of Coming Home to You, a journey to remembrance. The podcast where we explore what it means to remember who we are beyond those roles, the noise, and the expectations, because, right? Nobody wants this. I'm your host, Margarita Rose, and I am so thrilled to have you all with us here today. Here today, we believe that coming home is not a destination, it's a devotion. And it's about progress, not perfection. And I know you hear me say this, but it bears repeating because we often forget. It gets loud out there, folks. So each episode is a step on this journey, just a chance for you to reconnect with our true selves and embrace that unique path that we're all on as it unfolds before us. So today, I'm so honored to have our extraordinary guest with you today, Corri Evans. Corri is a transformational coach, international speaker, and a soul awakener for educators, leaders, and dreamers of all ages. With her signature blend of grounded wisdom and playful presence, she helps audiences reconnect to purpose, possibility, and peace. Whether it's guiding a school assembly, keynoting a wellness summit, or hosting her sacred pause cast, I just love the play on words. I'm a big fan of that. Corri shows up with her big heart, humor, and hope. So in this episode, say hi, but we'll say hi in a second. In this episode, we'll delve into her journey, exploring the pivotal moments that led her to embrace her path. That unique pivotal moments, right? The quality that brings her work to life and her vision for the future of soul awakening. So get ready for an inspiring conversation filled with insights, I'm sure some laughter and actionable advice that you can take today. So let's get started and welcome the lovely, beautiful soul sister, Corri Evans, to the show.
Hello, my beautiful friend and fellow leader in this universe of gathering humans for greatness. I love it. I love being here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I am looking forward to where this conversation is going to take us. I know it's going to be a wild, fun, and deep ride. Most important, it's
Always.
going to be authentic, and that's my favorite part. All right. So as we talk about the awakening process, right, there's always that awakening moment. So you awakened, and I'm assuming through a pause, right? Because that seems to be something that is close to your heart. So your sacred podcast is such a soul awakening work, are such a gift in a fast moving world. So thank you for that. What was the
Thank
moment that
you.
led you to create for space and pause in your life? And how did it help you remember who you are beneath the noise?
Oh, what a great question. You asked the best questions. So first of all, thank you. Thank you. It means so much to be here, and I'm I'm so gifted in my life right now in ways that I didn't always recognize. And the sacred pause is, it's the intentional moment we take to stop the noise of what's happening around us when we know when we need to come back to ourselves. And I think that anything that's pulling you away from yourself is that moment. And we all feel it, but we don't always acknowledge it within ourselves. So the sacred pause was birthed really to help me find my way back to me. And so I love your topic of coming home to you because this really resonates. The sacred pause for me is about coming home to me. And it's a breath between busy and burnout. I was corporate. I was busy. I was lots of jobs. I was lots of education. I was lots of things. And I was someone to everyone. But what I wasn't was clear, honoring my intuition and being truthful in so many rooms, right? Like so many rooms. And so as I took a pause and genuinely like looked at myself, my life, and where I am and where I want to go, I realized that I just needed to remember who I am, and beneath the roles, beneath the hustle, beneath the noise that I created, that I generated. And from that remembering, I really began again with purpose. And if you're asking for the moment that truly led me into the sacred pause was when I realized I had everything I wanted, or I thought I wanted: corporate corner office, impressive salaries, all the external golden stars. Everything on the outside looked perfect. And I couldn't hear myself think. And I was buying Starbucks every morning, but I rarely got to drink that chai tea latte. Rarely got to drink. I can't hear you. Oh, and I was buying, oh, sorry. So my body was unhealthy, inflamed. My spirit felt really disconnected. And I really believe that the moment that I stopped and recognized that the soul within me needed to breathe and play again and create space, it began a lifetime devotion of helping others. And that's what I always did, but I did it inauthentically a lot of times. And now I recognize myself as a visionary woman, as a dreamer, as a star maker, as a change maker, as a person who shows up who I am. And I'm looking all the time for those visionary women around me, those extraordinary leaders around me that have it all, but cannot make eye contact with themselves in the mirror and say everything's okay, because it isn't. That's who I'm looking for. And that's who I'm creating space for. Because when we pause, we get to hear the truth of who we are again. And I just remembered something simple also, like something that really led me to the sacred pause. And some of my projects are reading bedtime stories to my kiddos. I don't know if you're, whether you're somebody who read, were read to, or needed to have that on either level. Like, those moments were sacred to me. And they were always quiet with my kiddos, me in my authentic me. Lord knows how I was showing up on those nights with my kids, but those bedtime stories saved my life. And so I wanted to create something like that for the rest of the world. We're all in this together. Yeah.
So you just touched so many parts, like my mission, like you spoke so beautifully around why this podcast was born. And it is those moments that are sacred. And some of the things that just I could feel deep in my bones was that disconnection when you noticed that you were disconnected from your spirit.
Yeah.
Like, is it worth to look like you have all the things and you're acquiring what society deems is the right path for you, and you're doing all those things, but you don't feel true and authentic and connected, right? And that soul needing to breathe and play again. I was like, yes, sister, like preach. I was like, yes. And it has been those moments of play for me that have saved my life.
Yes.
Connecting to the things that bring me passion, the things that make me feel alive and free, right? Like nothing can touch me. And so those are the sacred pauses that I heard when you were sharing. So thank you for giving me that grounded.
Yeah.
First, on the first question, you just really got us grounded in how easy it is for it to be a sacred devotion of just being okay and looking within. So thank you for inviting us to do that today. So as you are a soul-led leader, I can feel it already. You support so many educators and leaders in the world and creatives to just reconnect back to their purpose. So what's one belief or story that you had to unlearn in your own leadership journey to fully trust your soul's voice?
Another fantastic question. I had to unlearn the story that said, good leaders don't get messy. Good leaders do things perfectly. Good leaders do things alone. Like, you got this. You get to take this on. I think that perfectionism and performative, like, I got it all together mask really disconnected me from my humanity. And I really wanted to show up perfect because I I thought that was really important. I thought that that was what people wanted, and I really wanted to please the people that mattered to me as a child. And then again, as I was climbing the corporate ladder, there was always somebody that I was trying to impress. And I realized that my soul-led leadership, it wasn't about being the most polished or the smartest in the room ever. It was never about that. It was always about being real. And anytime I was, that's what landed. It was always about being present and being willing to pause again, but that word pause, ask questions. I am the why, where, how, what's underneath that? Why are we doing it this way? Curiosity is such a gift, and didn't know that I could even ask those questions. I really thought that that was just defiance at times, that my voice was defiant. And I was, that was a piece of feedback that was given to me as a child quite a bit. Is like, stop talking already. Like, nobody wants to hear your questions. And that doesn't, my parents led me to be the wise woman I am today. I've come full circle with all of that. And I just guess being willing to pause in this same moment that I do ask those questions, and then I invite others into the playground of possibility with me when I begin the curiosity game. And we all get to unlearn the story that gave us, that took the freedom for us to be fully us. And for me, that meant I get to be weird. I get to be my little rock playing, crystal digging, feet almost always in the mud girl who gets to be playful. And I also get to honor my intuition and to model that for my kiddos, teenagers. So this started really when my kiddos were teenagers, that I started to wake up to like the lessons I had been teaching them. And I realized that they were getting the same message I got, because I wasn't shifting. I had not learned these things yet. And so I was coaching my children the way that I had been coached. And so now I write to kids, I write to teachers, I write to corporations that I coach, and I stand for the mothers that I speak to and for, that say soul-led leadership is where it's at. It's where it's at. It's when we stop leading with our head and all of the things that we've been said, all of the things that have been said to us, and drop into the wisdom of our body and our heart. I carried the weight for a really long time of proving myself. And I was definitely a wild child and a wild one as a kid. And I got a lot of the "you're too much." So I overcompensated. I became the overachiever, the fixer, the one who knew how to bleed, even, I don't know, even when I was betraying my own nervous system. And motherhood unraveled that. It unraveled that for me. And I don't know, each of my children really just taught me to lead from curiosity and not control. And every partner that I've loved has brought me home to a piece of myself. And my parents, who I truly once blamed for all of the ways that I felt unseen, I see them now as the raw material that helped me become the woman I am today. And I'm so grateful for that, because I lead from my soul. And that means embracing my mess and sharing it. And it means listening deeply. And it means staying playful, even when things get really messy and hard. And although I am still a work in progress, as all of us are, I know that my leadership isn't about controlling outcomes anymore. I know that it's about creating space for people to hear their own soul's voice and find alignment for themselves. That's the best way I can think of to answer.
So poetic. I don't know. I love listening to you speak.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, be wild and free, curious, listening to your own soul's voice. What a great way to not have it be a place of judgment. I think a lot of times when we talk about getting curious, seeing why you're doing things, I know I was in the beginning anyway, it's getting so hard on myself. Like, oh yeah, proof I'm broken. Oh yeah, proof I'm this. But it's like, no, let's not go there. It's not about going there. It's about just seeing it like you're watching a movie, a little bit detached from the blame and shame, just getting, oh, I'm curious, how is it really affecting me? Oh, what are the prices I'm paying continuously to make those decisions? And is it costing me my own love, my own connection to myself, to my body, to my truth? And so definitely dropping from the head into the body and the heart is a great way to step into your purpose.
Yes.
So very soul led, right? Because our head, they call it the monkey brain for a reason, right? Because it's just so many things. And if we're not grounded or connected to ourselves, we can get lost in that noise, in the roles and the expectations. Which is why I love using movement as medicine, because a lot of times we can forget, and just touching yourself can bring us into a present moment and away from anxiety and stress or any kind of thing. So your movement meditation, right, has impacted nonprofits and communities around the world.
Yay.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. So what role has embodied movement played in your own journey of coming home to yourself? And how can others begin to reconnect to their bodies that way?
Okay. Now we're talking. Now we're going to have some fun. So movement saved me. It saved me, truly. As someone who lived in my head for decades, as we previously discussed, overthinking, people pleasing. I had forgotten what it felt like to feel, like just feel. And when I began weaving gentle breath in with movement, think old school calisthenics with some grounding energy, breathing and feeling the difference. Also, whether that's going back to my roots and remembering that I was barefoot in my backyard when I was always my happiest, like just recognizing how happy you are when you're barefoot in grass. Okay. Like everybody take your shoes off. If you do nothing else today, go outside barefoot and just see what it feels like. Find something to put your feet on that isn't man-made, that is earth, and feel it. And just swaying in your kitchen, like just singing and swaying in your kitchen and allowing yourself to feel what's happening around you when your energy shifts. What is causing your energy to shift? Teaching sensory movement to kiddos has been literally the greatest blessing of my life. And I did it with my kids and I forgot. Again, it's another one of those things you just forget. Hold a baby. What do you do? Look out at any tree, out of any window, from even if you don't have access to a window, like look at a picture of a tree and just close your eyes and feel that tree. These are the body never lies, right? I discovered a portal home to me simply by allowing myself to feel movement again. And it tells us when we're safe. And it tells us when we're stretching and when we need to rest. And for anyone just wanting to reconnect to themselves right here, right now, you start small. You do not need a regimen. You just put your hand on your heart and you take a breath and you move in a way that feels kind, not punishing, and you let your body lead. Like your body remembers the way home. And For years, I ignored my body. And I thought it was just this vehicle that truly was just there to carry my ambition. And I always was very ambitious, but the pain caught up. And inflammation and illness and exhaustion and disconnection all happened when I wasn't connected to my body. And it wasn't until I started dancing again and feeling again. I was a figure skater growing up. So I love to slide through if there's a hardwood floor, I have socks on and I'm sliding through the room. You can watch, I'm spinning, I'm sliding, I'm doing ask anybody that knows me, they've seen me do this. I am back to swaying barefoot in my kitchen. I am back to stretching on the floor on my yoga mats with my dogs. I know, just slide across I'll do it. Like, I will absolutely send a video and share it with everybody. It's your body, my body is my home, and your body is your home. And again, when you go back to those, I always go back to the bedtime thing too, just because I feel like when I read to my kids and it was their bedtime, we'd move through the stories and we'd wiggle like worms and we'd stomp like dinosaurs and we'd breathe like the wind blows. And those are the moments that help me realize that movement is storytelling and it's healing. And whether I'm with a CEO of a very prominent company, or whether I'm leading a workshop in a women's shelter, or I just bring that embodied approach with me everywhere. And again, we're always going to start by listening first to ourselves. Listen to myself. And if it doesn't feel kind, if it feels unkind or anything other than joy, you're not there. Like, take another breath, start again. That's what's beautiful. We have another breath following the one that we're in. We always have a breath. And so ask yourself, what is your body craving right now? Is it rest? Is it laughter? Is it a good shake off? Like, just like let it go. And then follow that. Listen to yourself, because when we move with love, we always come back to life. Always.
Wow. I think there are still moments where I am not talking to my body. My body's screaming at me, have pain. Like I actually had a moment where I remember before COVID, the pandemic. I don't like to use the C word, but there was a moment where I had such debilitating pain in my hip that was just getting worse and worse all the time. And I finally was sitting there during the pause. I think the earth was saying, okay, if y'all going to listen to yourself, you're going to listen to this. You're all going to pause all together, all together now. Yep. And so in that moment, I actually sat there and I started asking my body those questions. What is this pain? What am I holding on to? What are you holding on to? What is it that is there? And the answers came to me, and so I was holding on to guilt and shame. And I got curious about, is it true? Is it my truth? In that moment, I realized I was able to forgive and let go because it was not serving me anymore. And I was ready. I was ready to let go of it. It wasn't serving me. So I sat there and I cried it out, and I was visualizing forgiving my younger version of myself, doing some inner child healing. She is waiting for you to connect back to her. And I truly believe that. And I swear, 5-10 minutes later, I felt a whoosh of energy from my hip down off my toes, and that pain went away. And it's been gone. So it's crazy how when you do tune in, and I love your invitation to be playful with it, right? So leading with playful purpose sounds like such a beautiful invitation that could take away that heaviness that life can sometimes carry. So, because you are such a beautiful soul that way, and you bring such lighthearted energy to your work. How do you stay connected to joy and possibilities, even while navigating heavy emotions and big responsibilities as a leader, especially?
Well, I would say first, I stopped taking myself so dang seriously. And play didn't just save my business, it saved me. It saved me. And after all the things that I've been through, and some of those things, divorce, family health scares, um, the intensity of caregiving and leading at the same time, like I just learned to laugh again. And I mean, those stories could go on and on and on. There's lists. We all have lists of things that have taken our joy or that have caused seriousness. Um, I learned to laugh again and to see my children's joy as medicine and to see my spouses, and I say spouses because I have three beautiful ones, and not as failures, but as divine gifts who walked with me when I needed love the most. And I carry their stories into my work, in my heart, into the books I write, into every poem or writing that I craft for the next generation. And I lead with joy because I'm now choosing to. And playfulness doesn't mean ignoring pain. It doesn't. That's a lot of people, like I've gotten feedback and heard many people say words like, but you don't understand what I'm going through. I just lost a child. I just got divorced for the third time almost. And it means like we get to let delight have a seat at that table. We get to have delight have a seat at every table that we are in because we are present with it. And life is serious, I know, but we don't always have to be. We don't always have to be. I stay connected. I stay connected through I call it ritual, like my morning meditation. I call it like I wake up at the same time every day these days. I wear silly socks to Zoom meetings in case there's the opportunity to slide down the hallway on my way there. I dance before keynote speeches to ground myself. And I name my emotions like characters in a book. And I learned that through movies and other books that I've read. And it's just a way to take yourself less seriously, I guess. And my brand, which is Mother Nurturer. My kiddos named me I am the self-professed forest fairy of my family. And and my brand came from that. And my kiddos, Mother Nurture is way too big. Like she's a big, I honor and honor the earth. God gave us Mother Nurturer to show us what seasons are. And I don't know, we exist because I believe play is a sacred leadership skill. And most often in leaders that are stuck, they're missing that. And it's almost always like, where are you missing? If you feel stuck, where are you missing curiosity and playfulness? So yes, I lead with light, but it's earned light and grounded in joy. And I believe we all get to lead from there too.
Wow, I love how you perfectly weave, and you brought it up in almost every question, and so beautifully in how your role as a mother, right? And how you also see that being nurturing too as a leader, right? Because we aren't separate. When we're being authentic, we realize that it is within the things that bring us joy in one place is what can bring us joy in every place, is how, because the truth is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so it's great that you walking, and talking the talk and walking the walk and however that spraying goes. And it's so beautiful. Just go a little deeper in that aspect. Like, how have you seen your connection or your children's growth because you've been in a playful place and taking yourself not so seriously? Like, how do you see that modeling for them?
Oh,
How old are they, by the way?
my
Start there.
oldest is 33
My goodness.
And my middle child, my oldest is Justin, and he's 33 years old, and he is something. He's a gift. All of my children are gifts, but they're all gifts. Dominique is my middle child, and she will tell you she's the middle child. And she's 31,
They
and
always do.
my last and the only girl, and so that too. And then my youngest is Zachary, and he is 22. He will be 23 at the end of June in 2025. So he is coming upon 23 years old. Um, I would say this. The feedback that I received from the connection I had with my kiddos went from very grounded and nurturing and loving and in nature to mom sort of almost stepping back a bit to chase dreams in a way that really didn't serve the family. It didn't serve me. It didn't serve any of them. And it was disconnected, and it was unavailability. I'm busy. I have really important things to do. I I really want to impress again with the impressing upon, I just was really trying to show them that that hard work, that getting up every morning and leaving the house and working and being the first one to work and the last one home was what was so important, because it was bringing in more money every year, more and more and more. And you know what wasn't bringing in? Connection. It wasn't connective. And all of this was like a life awakening for not just me, but for my kiddos too, because they were suffering and I wasn't even there. And for a person who was so angry with my own parents for possibly, for not being there the way that I needed them, the way that I had my story wrapped around, I realized that I was part of the self-perpetuating, like same old, same old. There's lots of phrases for that, but it was not, I wasn't the mother I wanted to be. I wasn't the daughter I wanted to be. I wasn't the sister I wanted to be. I wasn't the auntie I wanted to be. I wasn't the neighbor or the friend I wanted to be, because I was so busy trying to be somebody that I forgot there were people that I loved that were right there, just wanting a moment. And so when I opened my eyes to that, my whole life shifted, because something I learned in a leadership course was when you shift, everything shifts. And that could not be more like valid in this instance. I have a beautiful connection with my sisters, with my children. We I put it like this in paper. It felt like power was holding hands with peace. And one morning, I just realized I no longer had to keep receipts on everything I did in my life, because I didn't have to prove or justify anything anymore. I just got to like be that wild, beautiful soul, messy, and they got to see that. And I got to just be open about all the things that didn't work. And I saw every one of them and myself through a softer lens. And that clarity cracked open everything in the best way. And my children benefit from that today. There's a connection there that was almost, I'm grateful that it wasn't snipped off and that they didn't just go on like balloons as if they were flying off in the air on their own. I'm so grateful that they remember the groundingness of all the things that came before. And they also remembered what that felt like. And so they could honor their own journey of awakening.
I need to breathe through that. So give me a minute.
Me too. Like, yeah.
I so yeah, I think it was the same for me, right? I love when we can share openly about the importance of where we are and what we want and look at the results that we're currently creating. And is it where what you wanted? And it wasn't until I also went through leadership that I had an awareness of my blind spots that I didn't know, and how fiercely I was desperately holding on to my victim story, that story that like, but you don't understand this I have had these, I'm this way because like all these excuses that I made to, not be responsible for myself.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was also modeling that for my children. And when I got grounded in that spot, in that place, in that space of like, I'm being the same pattern that my family gave to me and bestowed onto me. And I was like, I am going to be a cycle breaker. I refuse to be someone who's now aware and not going to do anything about it. So that's the importance of having people surrounding you who see your light. And I love how beautiful you shared with us how you saw that. You said that you had such beautiful people, family, friends all around you that you loved. And forgetting that they were people. And how often with the busyness, and we get burnt out, right? And so we come home and the people that love us the most are the ones we're less connected and present for.
Yes.
And so it's so important in those moments to, like connect, like, why are you burning out? What's your vision? Are you disconnected to your body? Like, what is your body saying? And when you can be connected to your body, I think it's that beautiful invitation for joy, that beautiful invitation for playfulness. Because when I started listening and asking, it was always a form of play. It was always a form of something that brought that inner child out, regardless of what it was. Play a music, sing a song, color, draw, whatever it was. It always was something that was a form of what lit me up as a child. And so I love your message and how you lead your life and how you lead your career and how it really is aligned with the truth of who you are in your soul. We all are magnificent. We were born with joy innate in our bodies, right? Now it's our decision to choose it, to have it be our medicine, as you beautifully said. Coincidentally, I just co-created a song called Joy is My Medicine.
Nice. I can't wait to hear that.
Yes. And so there was just, uh, reminding that it is a ritual, making joy a ritual. Like, how fun is that? It's not about adding more things to your life, but how can you infuse joy into the things that you're already doing?
Right.
Because I know we get busy and we're like, we're too busy to do this. And oh, yeah, another person with that and another course for this. Like, just be intentional. And I think you said it earlier in the conversation about like really being connected to your intention, being intentional about where you are and what it is that you want to create. And being perfectly imperfect. That is definitely my go-to quote, because it's true. We are perfectly imperfect. And I think when we can model that imperfection with our children and then clean it up, right? I think that's where connection really gets built. Would you agree in the cleanup?
I would agree that you're listening to yourself, and I guess as you're moving about anything that you're doing, whether it's connection with a person or whether it's a task you've taken on or whether it's something you raise your hand and say yes to, knowing that there's something else that's going to start, you can be in one place. There are ways to create all manner of like both ands, but there's so many times that we sit and we don't listen to the inner message of this can't be it. This can't be all there is. And we get to exhale in that moment and listen to our bodies, feel what the message is that's coming to us, and begin again. Begin again. Begin again. We are never stuck. We are never stuck. We are never stuck. These are words. I am never stuck. Like, we should all start the moment we think we are. We aren't. We get to choose something. Even if we choose nothing, that's a choice in that moment. And that's an acknowledgement of self, of a possibility of stuckness. So how can you create curiosity, even if you can't make it fun? Because there are life moments that are not fun. Okay. Like, there are just many of those that we've all experienced at varying degrees of pain is pain. Pain is pain, and joy is joy. And we get to remember that there are seasons of our life. And when it's, I always just, I use a lot of tree analogies with littles. So, like, when it feels like there's nothing left and it's just a stick that can be broken, we feel like this. We feel brittle. We feel dry. We feel dehydrated. We feel depleted. Like, something is working underneath that ground, and it will bloom and it will blossom if we nurture it. And those are the moments that we may have forgotten because we haven't put it together yet. Some people may not have, there's people that might hear that and be like, this crappy moment that I'm in is going to be over soon. I get to take another step. This isn't the last step. And that's what I just constantly remember. And if I'm swaying and I'm remembering that I am movement and I am energy and I am a mirror for everything that I generate in front of me, then I can find beauty around me. I recently had someone share with me a beautiful poem. And I'll share that with you to share with everyone who's listening. And it's beauty above, beauty below, beauty around. And it's wherever you are, you can find beauty. You can. And if you do, it brings hope, and hope blooms more hope.
It's contagious, I always say.
It is. It really is.
What a beautiful message you just shared. And that was going to be my last question, but I felt like you gave us such a beautiful message of remembrance, right? But was there just to maybe give us a concise for those to ground it in, for that woman who's listening or connected, what would you most want them to remember about their light and their purpose today?
My message to you is that you have not missed your moment. If you are still breathing, there's a part of you, maybe quiet, maybe scared, that still believes in what's possible for you. And I call that your little self, your curious, dreaming, wild child. And she's within, and she remembers what the adult in you may have forgotten. And you are not broken. You're just overdue for some rest, for some reimagining, for a sacred pause, always. And your light doesn't disappear when life gets messy. It just hides sometimes beneath obligation and burnout and some of the things we've talked about, pain. So pause and breathe and ask your soul, what do I most want to remember? And then trust whatever comes, because you're closer than you think. We're always so close. We're always so close. So, and you have a support. There's resources like this beautiful podcast, and other, I said podcast because that's mine, but there's resources. You are never alone. if you are breathing, there's a human who can support you. Find them.
You spoke right into my soul. I felt your words. Thank you for that beautiful gift.
Thank you. I receive.
So, thank you. So, as we wrap up this call, thank you for joining us on this episode of Coming Home to You, a journey of remembrance. See, a joy of remembrance. I might just change it to that.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Corri, for being here today. One of the things that we talked about today, I wanted to just recap because it's worth repeating. And if you're just going to always catch the end of this is your way of recapping it for yourself, right? Being perfectly imperfect, not being judging yourself, making sure that you're pausing, asking your body, dropping from your head back down to your heart, knowing that you're not alone. Learning to love yourself first because your soul needs to breathe and play too. And it's through your joy that you find your medicine. So choose it. Make it a ritual. Be wild and free today. It is your portal home, back home to your truth, remembering who you are underneath the hustle. Finding your way back home is finding your way through your body back to the truth of who you are. Be intentional every moment that you take. Because the only person that you need to impress is you. So be willing to pause and be present. Be in the playground of possibility today. We need your light. You already matter. You are enough. And today is your day to remember and ground yourself in that. Oh, I got the chills saying that, girl.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
I hope you found our conversation with Corri Evans as inspiring and enlightening and soul, heart touching as I did. Her journey of transformation and her dedication to awakening souls around the world truly reminds us of the power of authenticity and purpose. So if you enjoyed today's podcast/podcast episode, please consider subscribing to it today. Leave a comment below. Please leave a review. Share it with your friends. Your support will really help us reach more listeners like you who really would love to pause and come back home to yourself. And continue bringing your incredible stories of women leaders coming home to yourselves. That is my promise to you. So to learn more about Corri and her work, be sure to check out the links below. We are going to have in the show notes for you. And remember, your journey of self-discovery and authenticity is unique and powerful. It truly is. So keep embracing who you are and be in that playground of possibilities that lie ahead for you. Until next time, I'm Margarita Rose, and this has been Coming Home to You, a joyful journey to remembrance. Stay true to yourself and keep shining your light. I love you. All right, live stream ended. Let me stop the recording.